Okay, guys. Remember I was telling you that brewing the kombucha, you go from a aerobic to an anaerobic stage. Anyway, I'll take you on a walkthrough. I'm doing an experiment over here. This was on 3/11. Today's 22nd. We've got a not as pretty a scoby as I've had before, but it looks, it's doing the job, and it's got a nice growing a yeast up underneath there. But this one here, now that's 11th. This one was put on 3/18, and wow, that's a really nice scoby. In fact, if you look close, you can actually see that that's doing that again. Remember I told you earlier I needed to drop the level of fluid in here? That is actually pushing up. There's airspace. It's not actually sitting right on the water. There's airspace, those little bubbles. And maybe if I turn it, no, but I believe that this one's doing the same thing. Watch back here. See that? Let me turn this. See that? Yeah, sometimes the light, let's see. Yeah, you can see it there. That's airspace right there. So that's sealing the jar. And so we're going from an aerobic where you have plenty of air getting in to an anaerobic, and then the carbon dioxide's building up here, and because it creates that seal, it actually pushes the scoby up out of the water, which is not the greatest thing health-wise for a scoby. When I saw this before, I just pushed it down in there and let a little of the kombucha get on top of it, and man, it was a beautiful scoby. It was perfect. This one, I'm going to have to push this down a little bit, but what I want to show you guys was just a little experiment here. And this is, that says no scoby. Yeah, no scoby. You know what? That was the first one to start developing scoby. And look at that yeast strand up underneath there. It's like really happy. I don't want to pull this off. I did it the other day, but I just got one hand right now. But anyway, wanted to show you that. And that's a nice, really healthy scoby. All these were started at the same time. This has no scoby in it, but it developed its own. Now that one, you can see, got a pretty decent scoby. It's 3/16 or so thick. And it has almost no scoby development. You see it's trying to start one. It's got the yeast. What's the difference here? Right? I'm not letting it get the air. And it's having a really hard time. Now I'm sure it's converting that sugar and tea over to kombucha, but it's not growing in scoby. It's having a really hard time developing scoby because let's continue to look. And there's the original scoby that was in there. And it has a reasonably nice scoby building up on it. These are all made with the exact same starter liquids. And this one also had a scoby in it, you can see. And it's developing a nice scoby, new scoby of its own. So making these are little 1 pint, 2 cup mason jars. And basically just making some little gifters, you know. But that's got a nice little scoby going there. There was no scoby in there whatsoever. This was just a little bit of starter fluid from a previous batch. So this is getting a little late start here. I'm going to go in now, and I'm doing an experiment over at my house. I have 2 gallons going at my house, and I had to move it. I set it on the back of my stove, which is perfect temperature, and I wasn't paying attention, and I fired the stove up to dry out some eggshells that I was using for my water kefir, and man, I looked up there and I temperature strip, and I was like, oh shit, and I pulled it off real quick. Anyway, when I jiggled it around, the scoby in the bigger, larger jars This is only 80 fluid ounces, not 128. The other ones I got are full 128. And the scoby was, you know, not near this big. It's a lot bigger jar. And it sank. Now this scoby, which one was it? That one in that back container back there. You can see that it's trying to float up. But the other ones, I started off with a fairly significant scoby. It was down towards the bottom. The new scoby fell. One of them's trying to go back up. The other one's just resting on top of the other scoby in the other jar. But let's see if I can give you one more look at that. Come on, focus. Back up a little bit. What's wrong with this freaking thing? How come you're not focusing? Is that focusing? Turn my head. Give it something to focus on, maybe, huh? Anyway, you can see that it's pushed up. I'm just going to push that back down and get some fluid on the top. Just stick my finger in there and push it down and let the fluid just kind of run up over it. And I'm going to push the scoby around because it's large enough. It's going to seal right back. I'm going to do the same thing with that one right here. Make sure that I keep a nice wet surface on there, and that keeps that scoby nice and fresh. But anyway, just want to take y'all on that little ride. And we'll revisit this one at a later date and see if it will go ahead and recreate, because this thing's going to be on, it's only been on for 2022, it's only been on 4 days. It's going to go about 10 days, I'm reckoning. And these, I think I'm going to leave that, and then from periodically I'll pour some of this strong starter fluid liquid out of here and replace it with some sweet tea and just keep growing some medium-sized scobies. I don't know exactly, I've never built a scoby hotel before. I understand the theory, but I'm going to test it for myself and see how that goes. But really, you know, if you give this to someone, there's 2 cups of starter fluid, and then I'm going to have at least 2 scobies in all these, except for this one I started without one. So that seems like a really nice way to bless someone, because this is the key. The starter fluid, as you can see, you don't even need a scoby. It's more important to give somebody more starter fluid than it is to give them a big old fat scoby that's just going to sit in the bottom of their damn container. I don't know why people send you just big old scoby, big old scoby, big old scoby when that's not what you need. You need starter fluid. So if you get a choice and you're going to get it for somebody, give them a nice batch of starter fluid, because this would be enough to start once this is done brewing. Just this and, you know, 1 cup each. You could start 2 really nice quarts. You could start easily. You could really get started on a half gallon with that. Quick. That would actually do 2 cups of that once it's finished, and easily do a full gallon with just that 1 scoby. So, just give you an idea. If you're going to give something to somebody, give them something worthwhile. Give them at least that much fluid. And if you're going to give them a scoby, that would be nice. You give them that much fluid, you don't even have to give them a scoby. Alright, talk to you guys later. Well, while we're here, let's check on the apple cider vinegar, which was also put on 311. And, yep, still got plenty of activity in there. It's clouding up a little bit. I imagine it'll clear later. I still see stuff moving up and down in there. Not quite at the rate. Oh yeah. It's getting a little cloudy, but if you look in there a little bit, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's plenty of activity. Smells good too. Yeah. Cheers.